so the cameras work just like this.
What happens is this works fine. This is what's feeding the live demonstration. When the battery sits behind it, there's a buffer lag. When I switch the HDMI off, it says there's no monitor.
So you switch off to this to go to the display.
Yeah, when you switch the camera, my laptop says there's nothing plugged in there. So if I'm switching between the slides and the camera, then it's going to be adjust. Then find some other way.
Display. Is it because the Windows guy just...
It's because that switch connects the camera.
Correct.
So it plugs this camera.
And your laptop is... So your laptop is working. So it's this guy. It's having a
Okay, so are you doing camera visuals or?
We're just going slides.
And okay, and no, if that's the case, let me come around so that we're on the same instead of. He says you're not even going to fool around with the cameras, so I'm going to.
Okay, so welcome Jim Millard to the vBrownbag Tech Talks, and I'll hand straight over to Jim.
Great, we were a little running late with the lightning session, so I'm going to go even faster than we'd originally planned, but this is about Certificates 101, and it's more to let everybody know that certificates are not black magic, although they kind of are useful for keeping everything secure. So let's. Why are we using certificates? Well, they help us establish the secure connectivity between our clients and our various applications. And obviously, VMware has a number of products that use it, and there's a little bit of black magic and voodoo that is required today to get them to work correctly inside that environment. But if you understand a little bit of the basics of how certificates work, it may make some of that black magic go away. So the basis of what we're doing with certificates is encryption, and that's basically making sure that what we send over the wire, it looks like noise instead of actual useful information. So we've got some definitions that we'll need while I talk further through it. I'm not going to go through the individual ones, but as you can see, there are some things that I'm going to use from verbatim for the glossary. One of the more important ones that we'll talk about is what a hash function is, and unlike encryption, in which you've got the same stuff that you put in, you can get it back out again from the noise, a hash takes all the information that you're going to send and creates a known block size of a thumbprint. You cannot get any of the encrypted information back out of a hash. It's only a thumbprint. And its nice part is whether you're sending gigabytes or terabytes of data, your thumbprint is always going to be small and the same size, and if you change even one bit of the original stream, you're going to change what that thumbprint looks like, and that comes to be real important later. So the original encryption that we came up with was a symmetric cipher, which it requires usually not a lot of mathematical processing in order to create the noise from a good randomizer, and it requires a single key that then someone on either side of the conversation can use to decrypt it. We have a huge problem in this in our modern environments, which is key sharing. I can decrypt the data as long as I've got the key. Well, how do I send the key to someone? Oh, I'll encrypt it and send it to them. Okay, great. How do they decrypt without another key? So there are some nice mathematicians that came up with a way of doing two-factor or two-key ciphers, which is you use one key to perform either the encryption or decryption, and its partner key is used to do the reverse operation. So frequently they talk about it as private and public, but they're just labels. You end up creating two keys, and you arbitrarily pick one of the two to be your private one, and the other is the one that you share with others. And as the last bullet indicates, this is what makes PKI magical. So when you use the asymmetric cipher, as the slide shows you, you take your plain text, you run it through your cipher algorithm with key A, and you end up with noise. You can then only decrypt it with key B to get from noise the plain text. So what do we use these for? We secure data. We can also authenticate data. Those pieces in conjunction together is what helps us have certificates. So when we sign a message, we create a hash of it, we encipher it, and we send that along with the message itself. That means that if you take the message and the hash of it is always going to be the exact same hash as long as you don't change any bits or bytes in it. So you can verify that by taking the hash, deciphering it, and comparing that to a redo of the hash. What are our drawbacks? Well, you can't always do it with bulk encryption. You have to, better stated, it's resource intense to use asymmetric encryption. So we don't want to do that for entire messages or in large volumes of data. So how can we take care of this? We end up merging the two pieces together by having, we encipher with asymmetric the key that we're going to use later on for symmetric. When you put the two pieces together, that's what the certificate is for, is to authenticate that this is in fact that matching key that goes with it. So the certificate gives us a third party to actually authorize or authenticate that this certificate, this key that I'm getting that's the partner to it, actually is who they say they are. The process shows here, you request from a certificate authority to put their encrypted hash of my key on that same certificate, put them together, and that becomes a certificate. You end up with the ability to create chains of certificates, where somewhere there's a root certificate that is a self-signed certificate that we all trust. Anything that has been signed by that can then be another chain in the trust. And as the colors show, I hope anybody that's colorblind can manage to understand the difference in the contrast here, but we've got three different chains in this that allow us to have trust with the certificate. And so SSL sets up an encrypted connection by using a handshake with the handoff of the certificates, which is shown here in the flow diagram. And that's it. That's all there is to SSL. It's really not that crazy black magic. The hardest part about getting SSL to work in a VMware environment is getting the certificates put in the right place, and unfortunately that's out of scope for Flash Tech Talk.
Well, thanks, Jim. It's been great having you on to join us, and hopefully people understand a little more about what goes on inside the certificates they're asking for.
Yep, and there's a longer, more in-depth version of the same presentation already on the vBrownbag website, and I can't remember the dates, but you can find it by looking for Certificates 101.
Thanks very much, Jim.
You bet.
Stay tuned for some more.